Okay, it's supposed to go one way, up in worth. That's why wages today, in the early 60s, you can look at the figures, the Labor Department puts them out. What was minimum wage in the early 60s? Well, you can look it up and see where it was just about $1 an hour, let's say. And you can look at the buying power. You could do your own research. I'm willing to do the math. I may be wrong on some issues, but I'm honest. I'm trying to be genuine. And I'm willing to sit down and do the math, figuratively and otherwise, literally. What was the buying power of that $1? What could you buy, okay, with your 40-hour a week? I mean, devoting your life to a job. And a lot of these jobs are thankless, but these jobs are imperative to the welfare of society. And we marginalize these people and subjugate them and say, oh, well, it's unskilled labor and well, you know what, not everybody can have a living. I mean, that's how we rationalize this crap. We're evil. Like, anybody that would do that is evil, anti-American, elitist. Do you understand? And there's a slew of mini elitists. But what a big problem is with this critical mass, this tiny mass of elitists that have control. What they say goes. Their policy. And then you got all these other people that just jump on that bandwagon saying that's being pragmatic and practical. That's where their safety and security is just being invested in the establishmentarians, the status quo, going with this flow, this trajectory, okay, which is death and destruction for the average Joe out there. I mean, where does this thing end? Like I said, it's got legs. I'm scared for the masses. I've got a great life. I've got a really low cost of living. I've got a great sense of security and freedom, okay? And I wish everybody had a greater sense of security and freedom than I did. You understand? That would make me happy. Greater prosperity. Then I could enjoy greater prosperity myself. Until then, I can't, because I got brothers and sisters better than me dying out on the streets right now. I'm freaked out, man. And I want you to be freaked out enough. And even if it's an act, okay, let's say I'm just acting freaked out. Whatever. But when the chips are down, I'm scared. I've got the fear of the Lord in me. And I got to do something. That's not an act. That's real. Okay, I'm just trying to be honest here. Let's do the math. Let's go back to when minimum wage was $1 an hour. And look at the buying power. You could afford to be a homeowner. You could realize the American dream of home ownership. Do you understand how long gone is that now? How many counties left in America can you still be a homeowner on a minimum wage job? And furthermore, how many can one spouse stay at home and take care of the family business, which is just as important as any other business out there, making a buck, right? Vastly more, actually, in reality. God, what is wrong with us? I mean, we're so screwed up. I mean, we're in a lot of trouble, my friends. Okay, so that's the America I knew. That's when America was great, something Trump won't allude to, because he's involved in this scam. We, the taxpayers, are spending $50 billion a year on this Section 8 housing. Okay? It was supposed to be a temporary thing. It was supposed to help keep the cost of housing affordable for people. Talk about a miserable freaking failure. What the hell is wrong with us? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with me? How come I'm not more vociferous? I don't go to the local board meetings, supervisor, city. I don't give a crap. But you want to do something on a grassroots level, call your landlord. Ask for a rent decrease. That's the only thing you could do. And if you don't need the money, if you're doing fine, then do it for somebody else. Because it doesn't help anybody if you could comfortably afford to pay your rent while others are struggling. Okay, and the next rent increase is maybe the straw that breaks the camel's back, that gets them to put a bullet through their brain. They're too proud to ask for welfare, and obviously there's none left with all the homelessness out there. There's no more Section 8, right? How could there be? Why would we have wanton homelessness all over America? Answer. You answer it as an individual, and then you ask somebody else. Provoke, inspire, invoke thought in people. That's what we all have an obligation, a duty, a responsibility to do. This stuff I'm talking about goes far beyond rights, okay? This is an obligation, a duty, a responsibility. You call yourself a godly person, you're a nice guy, a nice gal, nice human being, all that kind of thing, right? You go to church on Sunday. What are you really doing that's tangible, concrete? that's solid to turn this ship of fools around, we're in a lot of trouble. I'm telling you, I mean, it's a mess. Where does it stop? What kind of trauma is it going to require? Is it going to require a civil war, a bloody revolution to understand this isn't Democrat, Republican, this isn't liberal, conservative, this isn't socialist, capitalist, this is we the people versus the elitist scum, sack, lying, cheating, thieving, murderous hypocrites. That's what we're up against. Talk about class. Okay, it's down to a science, this division. They've created this division, and they want to peddle it off like it's as simple as Democrat, Republican. Oh, no, where do you hear these people? When the last time you hear Democrats speaking like me, or Republicans, or socialists, or communists, or capitalists, or conservatives, or liberals, or Democrats, Republicans, whatever? You're not hearing it. Because they're liars. They're all working in collusion, in concert together against the best will of the average American person, the working class. They've destroyed this country. And it's only by the finger, the hand of God that we're going to get it back. And it's everybody praying and working together and unifying and coming against these monsters, being educated, knowing for certain you're right. You're right if you say this is modern day oppression. This is neo-feudalism. And it's got no basis in reality that I want any part of. This is anti-progress. This is anti-capitalism. Wages could be 50 cents an hour today. Do you understand? So I'm not sitting here saying at all that the answer is raising minimum wage. No, that would have acted like a check and balance over the years. Because when employers bitched and moaned and said, what the hell do you mean? By federal law, I got to pay my employees X. When just last year I had to pay them Y. Yeah, they got a legitimate beef. So let's get to the bottom of it. Let's have the conversation there. Let's make the rubber meet the road right there. Don't be another pissant. Don't be silent about these very important, critical issues to the welfare of the average person out there. It's ungodly. It's immoral. It's anti-American. It's anti-human. You become God's enemy. And by extension, you're an enemy of the average human being out there that just wants to live together in peace and safety and security and freedom and prosperity, all the good things we all want. Basic creature comforts are in abundance. We can stamp houses out like pancakes. Hell, we could all have 24 houses scattered all over the world if we wanted to. Compounds, the whole family could be welcome there at any time. Do you understand what we can have? They're liars, cheaters, thieves, murderers. That's who is running the show. That's who creates the policies we're all forced to live under. That is the nature of this big, fat-ass, rigged board game, essentially, that we're forced to play from birth. This little trick they call, oh, it's a cost of living tax and it makes 100% sense. It's perfectly normal. Even though no other creature has this yoke of burden upon them. They're born free. People call themselves free because you're born, you idiots. Born in America, they call it a rich nation. We're a freaking debtor nation. 22 trillion and counting. Free, my butt. Are you financially free? Were you born financially free? Well, a cost of living tax noose hung around your neck? You're all slaves, idiots. Don't you know it? I'm sorry, friends. But sometimes that is the rhetoric. We need to excoriate each other. When I'm wrong, that's fine. Come down hard on me. And you could apologize later. Like, I want to apologize. I don't mean to offend anybody. Anybody listening to me is already enlightened. I mean, this is not music to the ears of evildoers. I know they hate me, but I don't hate them. I'm trying to imitate God. I'm trying to emulate His spirit. What did He want for the evildoers? Repent or perish. I'm their best friend. And if these people want to hate me, that's their prerogative. Okay? But I'm their friend. God wishes none to perish. I wish none to perish. All to come to repentance. God does not delight in the destruction of the wicked. I don't delight in the destruction of the wicked. But we're in a heap of trouble, my friends. It's a mess. We're in a big, fat flurry of misery. Okay? And I don't know, man, it's going to be traumatic. You figure it out. If we're going to turn this ship of fools around, if our currency is suddenly going to start being worth more and more and more over a long period of time. Can you imagine what a departure that is and what needs to take place? What kind of sea changes? We're talking about biblical level. We're talking about celestial events, man. I mean, a mere stock market crash, a housing correction. I mean, it's going to take a lot. Everything, and then these elitists are going to scream and cry bloody murder. They're going to say, oh my God, this is this is Armageddon on us. I mean, they're going to say this recession, depression. I mean, jobs are going out the window and all these useless jobs anyhow that revolve around the problems continuing. The biggest problem they got to keep intact is desperate poverty, destitution. They've got to keep that intact because that drives so many of the other jobs out there. Okay, yes, I'm sorry to say it. I love law enforcement. But even in the judicial, industrial, law enforcement, criminal industrial complex, do you understand? The vast majority of those crimes are driven by fear that's induced by financial insecurity. And then I'm the wild-eyed, freaky, liberal, radical nut that says, oh, a UBI, universal basic income, oh my God, that's socialistic. Oh my God, oh my God. Really? What would God do? What would Jesus do? Whose planet is this anyhow? Let us think, my friends. Let us think hard. You're not chopped liver. You're God's child. He gave this planet to you as much as anybody else. It's yours. All those resources they trade on Wall Street, they're yours. Get it through your head. They're being kept from you. They're being withheld. They're being stolen from you daily. Okay, more and more and more. How far are we going to let this thing go? What's it going to take to turn it around? I'm scared. We're in a lot of trouble. And we've all got to do our part. Whatever it is, you think, oh, well, I can't do anything. Yeah, well, you better do something or else you're remiss. Else you're a coward. And you'll get a coward's reward from here in the next realm. Think ahead. Okay, think where you're going from here. Not just this little temporary thing. It's like a dream that could be taken from us at any moment. Stray bullet could hit me in the head right now. Okay, just like you. Any of us. Then what do you got? You're all invested in this system? This temporary, like a dream, temporary thing? I mean, God help us. I mean, think about where we're going from here. And you want, Judgment Day, the day of reckoning, accountability, just like your parents call you in. Hey, we're going to have a come to Jesus meeting to talk about your behavior and why it's wrong, why it's dangerous, and where it's going to land you. We got to talk about these things. The destitution is necessary so they can get these dubious wars started. And then you got all these people that understand they need to be relevant in order to be in that industrial complex, like the highly decorated Marine Corps General Smedley Butler said in his book, War is a Racket. It's a business, do you understand? And in order to run a business, you've got to be somehow relevant, necessary, needed. So if you don't have wars, all of a sudden you start losing relevance if there's world peace. Do you understand the problem here? I'm all for going to a just war. Hell, I'll pay to go kick Hitler's ass, just like any other red-blooded American man out there. So let's go to war against these a-holes. Metaphorically speaking, because I'm as anti-violent, I'm a pacifist. I'll use the P word, yeah, that's right. But I'll whoop ass if I need to. Hell, if I was a cop, you catch one of these mass murderers, I'll shoot him like a freaking dog without an ounce of compunction. You betcha, man. You betcha. You're pacifist, just like Smedley Butler, again, to quote him. These are your fiercest fighters. When the chips are down, you put them in the corner. You want them. You want them in the foxhole, okay? Because they hate violence, but they'll use it if somebody is treating them with violence. And this is violent. They're killing your brothers and sisters who are dying out in the cold right now. They're blowing their brains out. They're rotting away in prisons. They're starving to death. Do you understand? They're forced to live a life of misery in their car, under a bridge, out in some field under a tree. This is a health and safety violation. Talk about universal health care, getting bit by ticks, sleeping out in the cold. I mean, the psycho killers out there, All kinds of treacherous things can happen to people living outdoors. Couch surfing. I mean, this is where we're at, man. We're in so much trouble. My God. And you got the welfare industrial complex. You know how many jobs? How many jobs involved in this? So how many jobs would disappear overnight? How about the debt industrial complex? If you just got rid of desperate poverty, so nobody felt financially insecure from birth on,